All right. Welcome everybody. Um, in case you haven't figured out by now, I'm Mike Regan. I'm the Midwest Account Manager for NEC, covering the SL2100 product as well as now the Univerge Blue product. And part of that Univerge Blue product we're going to talk about this morning. We're going to talk about using NEC SIP trunks to help you capture more business out there. And I've titled this "Own Your Market with NEC SIP Trunks." So over the next 45 minutes or so, we're going to talk about that. I'm going to give you a couple things to think about, though, here at the beginning. How are your system sales doing? How are your phone system sales doing? Are they trending up? Are they staying flat? Are they going at a little decrease? Right? Usually, then your system revenue follows the same trajectory. If your sales are going up, your system revenue is going up. If your sales are flat, your system revenue is flat. If your sales are going down in terms of the total number of system sales, obviously your revenue would follow the same path. With NEC SIP trunks or utilizing SIP trunks, though, you're able to add revenue to every every system sale that you make. In this case, to every SL2100 system that is sold. Right? So this is a way to help your customers save money on service and increase revenue for each system sold. And let's take a look at how we're currently doing things. All right? Usually when people sell our SL2100 system, and I'm going to kind of work counterclockwise on this slide. Usually when they sell our system, it's connected to the PSTN, and it's usually with either a POTS line or more often than that with POTS lines or with the PRI circuit. All right, so let's take a typical example, in this example, we'll use an SL2100 as a 6x12 system. And usually when you install, when you do a system and you include programming and all that at this size, you're generally selling it for about $6,000, right? Which leaves about $3,200 in profit. And now I'm going to change this slide. That should say revenue, not profit. All right, so you got approximately $3,200 in revenue because a 6x12 SL2100 system is going to cost you right around $2,800. Right? So you got about $3,200 in revenue. What about additional revenue? The only way to increase your revenue going with this business model is if you have a maintenance agreement in place, or you do MAC work, or they have you come in and do some programming changes and you do it on time and material basis. Right? So there's not a lot of room for additional growth. It's once it's installed, you're there unless they need to add more phones, things like that. All right, as I said, that's usually connected to POTS via POTS or PRI. POTS lines, I don't know what they're going for in your area, but we're seeing here in Chicago about $50 to $70 per month for a POTS line per line. Right? So let's say we go on the lower end of the spectrum. They have 6 lines. The end user is paying about $300 per month for service. Right? Are you seeing any of that revenue? Probably not. Okay, so they're spending approximately $300 a month, give or take. And once you throw on taxes and other service charges, it can get even higher. But we'll just use the $50 base price per line as a bellwether here. Okay, so now let's take a look at using SIP trunks. All right, we're still going to use the same 6x12 kit. All right, and you're still going to install it for about $6,000, but this time we're using the IP Quick Start kit. right? Configured for 6 SIP trunks and 12 extensions. And we're going to use our voice over IP phones for those extensions, right? You're actually going to see a little bit more revenue because the cost on a 6x12 SL2100 system set up for SIP trunks and using IP phones, your cost is about $2,800, or I'm sorry, about $2,600. So now you're seeing about a couple $100 more revenue, right? And now you're seeing additional revenue in terms of recurring monthly revenue. So let's jump over to this side. 6 SIP trunks. We sell a 6 SIP trunk bundle on a 3-year term for $70 a month, or I should say the net price on that is $70 a month, right? This is where you'd have to look in your area what SIP trunks are going for. We see the standard being around $25 a month for SIP trunks. So let's say you go ahead and sell the 6 SIP trunk bundle at about $25 per line, right? That's $150 per month that you're selling the SIP trunks for. Now you're saving your customer $150 per month, thereabouts, because again, the government gets involved and has to put taxes and service fees and all kinds of fun stuff on top of that. So you're saving your customer roughly about $150 per month, right? Over a 3-year term, they've saved about $5,400 on their service, which is almost what you sold them the system for. So generally, the return on investment is right around 40 months, right? Now, your recurring monthly revenue is the difference of what you've sold the lines for and what the net cost of the lines are. So in this example, your recurring monthly revenue is $80 per month. Over the 3-year term, that's almost $2,900 in additional revenue that you created on the sale, right? And the bottom line is you own the customer, and we'll talk more about that as I get into the nuts and bolts of SIP trunks. But this is an example of how you can use SIP trunks to A, save your customer money, and B, increase your revenue of per system sold, right? To the tune of about $80 per month and almost $2,900 over 3 years, right? And you own the customer. At the end of their 3-year term, you go back in and say, hey, Mr. Customer or Miss Customer, what do you want to do here? Do we want to look at other SIP trunk options? Do we want to look at, who knows, we may have another phone system at that point, right? So, but the point is it's your customer. You're the ones that would go back in at the end of their term and service them and sell them additional features or whatever they do. And it could be just simply at the end of the 3-year term, they want to keep rolling with what they have, and at that point, it becomes a month-to-month contract with us, right? So again, that shows, how you can use the SIP trunks to help control the sale and save your customer money. So you control the sales cycle, you control the margins. We have the net price business model. You control the recurring monthly revenue. We are not dictating to you, hey, if you sell X amount of SIP trunks, you get 15% of the sale. Generally, it's between about 32 and 40% margin that we see people doing on their SIP trunks, right? However, NEC does handle the billing, right? So you don't have to worry about billing your customer for the SIP trunks. We will take care of that, all right? But you still own the company. We're your partner in this, right? We are not your competition. We will not be the ones at the end of a 3-year term on SIP trunks to reach out to your customer and say, hey, your term is over. What do you want to do? That's not what NEC is going to do. They're your customer. You're the ones that you need to keep track of this. At the end of their 3-year term, it gives you the opportunity to go back in and resell the customer. Right? So you ultimately own the customer. The future is here in terms of SIP trunks. Service providers are actively trying to eliminate POTS lines. I don't know that they'll be able to totally eliminate POTS lines, but they are going to make POTS the premium service for bringing telephone signal into the end user's facility. So you're going to see exponential price increases, right? And probably limited availability on POTS lines. They're going to only have so much copper to offer because they want everybody to go SIP trunks because it's cheaper for them, for the service provider to deploy SIP trunks. Right? I also recently read a white paper that said by 2025, service providers want to eliminate the ISDN. Reason being, it's going to cost them too much money to maintain PRI circuits. And you can do pretty much the same thing with a SIP trunk that you can do with a PRI circuit. However, in the small business realm, if somebody needs some of the features on a PRI circuit, they don't need to spend the money and get 23 channels if they don't need 23 channels. Right? So you're going to start to see exponential price increases on SIP trunks. Here in Chicago, we were notoriously, because AT&T is kind of from here, we were notoriously low on SIP trunk, or on not SIP trunks, on PRI service. You were seeing PRI circuits going anywhere from, $210 to $250 per month. I'm hearing now they're going up to around $400. So we're going to see exponential price increases on a PRI circuits as well. So service providers they're going to start pushing people towards SIP trunks. They already have. Right? And the other big thing about SIP trunks is E911 compliance. It is a lot easier to set up E911 with SIP trunks because SIP trunks are portable. Right? So it's easier to set up locations with DID numbers with SIP trunks. Right? SIP trunks are our fastest growing product offering that we offer in the NEC line. It's got a 265% growth rate from fiscal year 17 to fiscal year 18, and our fiscal years end on March 31st. So we are in fiscal year 19 right now. We just finished our first half of fiscal year 19. And we have no reason to believe why this exponential growth will slow down. People are jumping on board with the SIP trunk program here. Right? What is SIP trunking? SIP trunk is just a different way of bringing signal in to the facility. All right? They have similar features to a PRI circuit. All right, but as I mentioned, it especially for the small business, if they want to take advantage of some of these features, primarily DID. The small business doesn't have to invest in the 23 channels that a PRI circuit offers. If they only need 8 lines, they get 8 SIP trunks. Right? If they only need 6 lines, they get 6 SIP trunks. But they can still set up DIDs for their extensions using SIP trunk. Okay? Now, it does reside over the top on their existing network from their internet provider. All right? So it does require, a pretty stable internet connection. But that's about it. Okay? The cool part is recurring monthly revenue. So you get monthly payments from NEC based on what you sold. You determine the recurring monthly revenue because that's basically your margins. We work on a net pricing business model, so we are not telling you what to sell the SIP trunks for. All right, we'll tell you what the net price is, what they cost. You go out and sell them for whatever the market can bear. Sometimes it's $25 a month, sometimes it's $30 a month, sometimes it may be $20 a month. Right? You can utilize SIP trunks with the SL2100 IP Quick Start Kit to compete with hosted out there. So you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the IP offering that hosted does out there with an on-premise solution. And when you use an on-premise solution like the SL2100, you have more telephony features available for the end user. And then the big one, and I don't know if I'm going to talk about this more later. I hope I have these slides in here. Utilizing SIP trunks, the SL2100, and leasing to compete with hosted. One of the big things with hosted is you know it makes it easy math for the end user. You know, oh, it's $30 per user, and they have a device on their desk, or $35 per user, and they have a device on their desk, or $25 per user, and they have a device on their desk. That makes it easy math for the end user. But what the end user doesn't do is, you know, say we have this 12 line or 12 phone system, you know, $30 per user, that's $360 per month, right? Over the length of their term for their hosted solution. I guarantee you when you incorporate SIP trunking and leasing an SL2100, it's not going to cost them $30 per month per user. It'll come in a little bit less than that. It'll come in less than that. All right. So you can utilize SIP trunks, the SL2100, and leasing to help you compete with hosted, and you can then show them it's going to cost you X amount of dollars per user. As we're seeing now, one of the other things businesses are going through, and I just read a white paper on this as well, they're changing how they spend money. You know, yes, the economy is good right now, but they want to prepare for future downturns. And one of the things they're doing is instead of doing capital expenses for technology, they're doing operating expenses for technology. They would prefer to pay on a monthly basis. That's an operating expense model, because then that way they can budget. Right? I know my technology is going to cost me X amount of dollars over the next 36, 60, 72 months, whatever. As opposed to, ooh, you know, I get a pen, spend 6,000, I get to spend 10,000, I get to spend $25,000 for my phone system. Don't know if I'm ready to do that. All right. And we'll talk about this rule of 78. Rule of 78 is basically, if I go back to my old, you know, fifth grade math class, and we used to talk about compound interest for banking back when banks used to pay interest on your savings account. That's what the rule of 78 is. You're compounding your monthly payments. So you start off with, you know, say you sell $1,000 your first month. I understand that's a grandiose ideal here, is that in your first month you're going to create $1,000 worth of recurring monthly revenue. But we do this because the math turns out easy. So that recurring monthly revenue of $1,000 continues on for the length of the term. In this case, maybe it's 3 years. You go into the next month, you've already got that $1,000 banked, but now you've got another $1,000 in recurring monthly revenue. So it just builds upon itself. So at the end of the year, if you use this $100,000 as a benchmark, you created an extra $78,000 worth of revenue. So this thought of the recurring monthly revenue just kind of builds upon itself as you go through the process, right? And that's, I hate to use the term free money, but that's basically what it is. Right? Now, I talked about in my example using the voice over IP Quick Start Kit. Let's take a quick review of what the Quick Start Kit consists of. Quick Start Kit consists of a 2100 chassis with a CPU card. Remember, it includes 4-port, 2-hour in-mail. It also includes 8 voice over IP channels. Then you get 2 SIP trunk licenses, 2 1-port SIP trunk licenses. You get 2 third-party SIP station licenses, so you can incorporate mobile devices right out of the box. It incorporates 1 email notification license, so that now every user on the system can have their emails or their voicemails emailed to them. And then it includes 4 of the self-labeling IP telephones. These IP telephones sell for $160 a piece. So $640 worth of telephones are wrapped up in a kit that we're selling for $999. Tremendous price on that. If you broke all of those components down in an a la carte fashion, you're looking at about $1,300 worth of it. Okay? So, tremendous savings when going with the IP Quick Start Kit, and that's what I used in that example at the beginning with the Quick Start Kit. And that's why you can actually save money with an IP kit and combining it with SIP trunks. So, NEC as a service, that's something that we're going to talk about a lot moving forward in terms of NEC. It's all things NEC utilized as a service, including our on-premise telephone systems. Okay? So, it's a business model that serves the needs of the customer. So, it's whatever your customer is looking for. Are they looking for on-prem system? Are they looking to go cloud, whether it's a public or private cloud? Or are they looking for a combination of the two with the hybrid solution? That's kind of what we're talking about here, is utilizing SIP trunks with the SL2100. You're creating kind of a hybrid solution for them. All right? And the big thing that drives a lot of these factors drive this. The two I like to point out a lot is flexibility and scalability. All right? Utilizing SIP trunks gives them a lot more flexibility in terms of how they use their phone numbers, and investment and total cost of ownership needs. That's this OPEX versus CAPEX scenario. I've been selling phone systems for a long time. I think I'm coming up on like my 114th anniversary of selling SIP trunk or selling voice solutions. And back in the day, it used to be, hey, you want a phone, Mr. Customer, you want a phone system, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars. You give me half now. I install the system and you pay me half when the job is completed, and people did that. Now, as with the volatility of our economy, people don't, or businesses don't like to make that type of capital expenditure, especially on technology, because technology changes so fast. All right? So you're seeing a trend now more towards this operating expense. What is this going to cost me monthly? Right? So more businesses are financing their technology, because that gives them the flexibility to pivot if new technology comes out. If new technology comes out and they're paying month to month anyway, gives them the opportunity to pivot into some newer technology. Whereas if they've spent, in the example I gave, $6,000 for a phone system, as newer technology comes out, they may go, I paid the $6,000 for this system. I'm going to sit on it for a while. So using the capital expense, or I'm sorry, using the operating expense business model gives them a little bit more flexibility to pivot as new technology comes out. So take advantage of that. All right? And that's one of the things that you can do with Univerge Blue and NEC as a service, and particularly using SIP trunks. All right, NEC SIP trunks. All right, you are in control of the sale. These are your customers. We're kind of coming along for the ride. We want to try and make it as easy as possible for you guys to make money with this, and take some of the monthly back office stuff out of your hands. Okay? So you, as the partner, you own the direct relationship with the customer. So that gives you more control over the offering. You can leverage the sales cycle. You can react to competitive conditions. Because we use the net pricing model, the margin is in your control. Right? You set the sale price and the margin. Right? Your monthly recurring revenue is the difference between the net price and the end user price. Right? So it gives you the opportunity to blend job margins for service, maintenance, etc. One-time service setup fee, things like that. Right? But you're in control of that. If you can sell, if your market allows for you to sell SIP trunks for $30 per month, go for it. Right? And that will, that's just more recurring monthly revenue for you. So you determine the sale price. You determine the margin, because we work on a net pricing model. And I should say, those of you who are already selling the SL2100, you're kind of used to this net pricing model. All right? But the difference here with this is, if you go to your master agent or your distributor that you've entered the agreement with selling our SIP trunks for, you're not actually, when you order 6 SIP trunks, you are not actually cutting a check to the distributor for the $70 per month for that 6 SIP trunk bundle. That's just the baseline. Right? So there's no expenditure on your part. You go out and sell that. NEC does the invoicing. So NEC as a service invoices and collects from the end user, and then we pay the recurring monthly revenue based on the difference between the net price and what you sold the system, or what you sold the SIP trunks for. So you're not actually outlaying, in this case, the $70 per month for the SIP trunks. That's just the baseline to use for calculation of your recurring monthly revenue. Okay. So NEC does the billing. We invoice your end user, and then we pay you guys your monthly recurring revenue, and everybody's happy. Now, at the end of the term, whatever you set it up, and our SIP trunks can be sold on a month-to-month basis. They can be sold on a 1-year term. They can be sold on a 3-year term. If you've sold SIP trunks on a 3-year term, at the end of the term, NEC is not going to reach out to your customer and say, your contract term is up. What do you want to do? So say you've got them on a 3-year term for for their SIP trunks. On month 37, what NEC is going to do is we're going to send out another invoice.
Your call is very important to us. We'll be right with you. Service isn't just a courtesy; it's a commitment. Please.
So we are not going to, contact your customer at month 37 and say, your term is up. What do you want to do? we're just going to send another bill out. And at that point, they become a month-to-month user of NEC SIP trunks. So it's up to you guys to go in and you know sell them new technology or let them go at their current rate, whatever. And that's why leasing becomes another factor in all this. Because let's say you set them up on a system for on a 3-year lease to match the 3-year term of their SIP trunk, you can then go in and pivot them out of a system and either upgrade the system or leave them the same, and they'll just keep paying, month to month on their lease as well until they decide whether or not they want to buy the system. Right? So it gives you what we like to call a little bit of a sticky factor. You're in control of the customer. At the end of their term, you can go back and talk to the customer or your end user and see what they want to do. Right? The advantage for NEC resellers to sell SIP trunks, allows for you to sell on-prem equipment while starting to build a recurring monthly revenue stream. Right? It's no secret that the business is moving towards the cloud. Right? However, for you all who are selling on-prem equipment, it's hard to go on Monday go from selling on-premise equipment and creating that revenue to going to a recurring monthly revenue model. Right? So SIP trunks with the on-prem equipment allows for you to start building that recurring monthly revenue stream and still enjoying the revenue from on-prem sales, yet start building up your recurring monthly revenue stream with the SIP trunks. And it'll allow you to transition your business over to the cloud if that's a direction that you want to go. All right? Or you can keep selling SIP trunks with the on-premise equipment. Right? We follow the net pricing model, which, again, those of you who have been selling the 2100 understand we work on a net price model for the 2100 as well. So, using the net price model is something you guys are already used to. All right? And that allows for you to control the sales cycle, control your margins, and ultimately control what you're making per trunk on recurring monthly revenue. All right. There is fraud detection. Our NOCs do monitor our SIP trunks, and they look for fraudulent activity, and they will alert both the end user and you guys when they discover some fraudulent activity. SIP trunks are our fastest growing segment of the market. We grew at 265% last year, and we see no reason for that to slow down and stop as we're moving forward. So you want to jump on board that train. All right. So, what are some of the other advantages with using NEC SIP trunks? We have our Univerge Blue portal. So once you've gone through the application process, you will be granted access to our Univerge Blue portal, and from there you can create quotes for SIP trunks. You can order SIP trunks. You can port over numbers from existing or existing phone numbers into the new SIP trunk application. That's all done through our Univerge Blue portal. We have new SIP trunk bundles, which I'll talk about in a couple of slides. We have 3 different bundles that we offer. And then you have the administration of your customers through the Univerge Blue portal. So you can set up auto failover, disaster recovery, things like that. And we've improved the 911 behavior. You only need to register 1 E911 telephone per location. In the past, you've had to register all phones at the location. Right? Our primary way of selling SIP trunks is unlimited usage trunks, so they have unlimited and inbound and outbound minutes. All right, and you see here from 1 to 3 trunks what it costs for a month to month, 1 year term, and versus a 3 year term. And you can go all the way down to when you sell 100 plus trunks to a location, it could be as low as 1,100 or $11 per SIP trunk. Now, we're talking in terms of the SL2100. So your maximum number of SIP trunks that you could put on an SL2100 is 64. So when you go a la carte with the SIP trunks, if you say you have an opportunity for 64 SIP trunks, you're looking at $12.25 per SIP trunk on a 3 year term. So this is not, you're not able to bundle these lines in terms of for all of your opportunities. This is a per opportunity. The sliding scale is per opportunity or per location. Okay? But we do have bundled SIP trunks, which I will get to in a minute. I forgot the order of these slides. We also have metered trunks where you get 500 local long distance minutes or 250 local long distance minutes. It includes a DID number. Your minutes are actually pooled. So, depending on how many SIP trunks, your local and long distance minutes are then kind of pooled, and your usage is based on that. And then there's a 2 cents a minute overage charge, and that's for outbound calls. All right, and then you see a no term, what the cost is and what it is for a 3 year term. Primarily, what we see a lot, these are sold a lot as demos. Um, Resellers, once they join the program, they may purchase 1 or 2 of these SIP trunks just to see how everything flows. And usually they do it on a month to month so that once they're comfortable with how the process goes, they may cancel the SIP trunk or they may change it. They may cancel these SIP trunks that have the minute restriction on them and move to unlimited SIP trunks. So, but that's where we primarily see these. Now I'm ready for the bundles. We offer we offer SIP trunks in 3 different bundled packages. Right? And all of the SIP trunks that are in these bundles are all of the unlimited usage variety. So our first bundle, which I referenced early on in this presentation, is 6 SIP trunks. Comes with 10 DIDs and 1 E91 run registration, right? Which you see on a 3 year term can be $70 per month. All right. We also have a bundle for 12 SIP trunks, all right, that we sell with 25 DID numbers, 1 E911 registration, and 1 toll-free DID. Okay? That can be as low as $100 per month on a year term. Right? And then I talked about how PRI circuits are going up exponentially in terms of cost of SIP trunk, or in terms of cost of a PRI circuit. Well, we have our 23 SIP trunk bundle. Right? Comes with 50 DIDs, 1 E911 registration, 2 toll-free DIDs. Right? Sells for $280 on a 3 year term. All right. So this is a great, bundles are a great way to save your customers money and increase your revenue. All right. So if somebody needs just 4 SIP trunks, you can sell them on a 3 year term 4 SIP trunks at $14 a piece, which is $56 per month, or you can upsell them to a 6 SIP trunk bundle. Gives them more DIDs, E911 registration, and it only costs them $14 per month additional, or the net cost is $14 per month. Right? So utilize the SIP trunk bundles. You know, Adam Walker, who is our business development manager for the Univerge Blue, he will do a webinar where he talks about if somebody needs 10 SIP trunks, sell them, a 6 SIP trunk bundle and 4 more SIP, unlimited SIP trunks a la carte. And I'm like, somebody needs 10 SIP trunks. You either sell them 2 of the 6 SIP trunk bottles or 1 12 SIP trunk bottle. Gives them additional SIP trunks, more DIDs, things like that. It expands their service. So always think when quoting SIP trunks, always start with the bundles because it gives you the opportunity to make more margin. Right? And if somebody talks to you in terms of a PRI circuit, wanting PRI, think in terms of our 23 SIP trunk bundle. Right? Utilize our bundles. Now, one of the things that I've gotten a lot when I've done different training classes, and we started talking about SIP trunks, is I get a lot of feedback from dealers that say, SIP trunks, we've tried them, they're a pain in the ass for programming, pardon my French. Right? So what we've done for our SIP trunks is we've come up with a programming wizard for our NEC branded SIP trunks on the SL2100. Right? So you can click on this NEC Cloud Communications domain with registration. So if you sold them 6 SIP trunks and you're programming an SL2100, this is the button you would want to click on. All right? You could find that in either the initial setup wizard or under quick install. All right? So we've made it both, available to you for both the new install and an existing installation. All right? Once you click on this cloud communications button, your fields start to populate. All right? So your port information shows up here. Your resource IP address, everything in the green here shows up. All right? So your DHCP client mode, your domain assignment, all of this stuff that you see in the green buttons, that's what populates in there. So that's all of your service provider specific information. At this point, NEC is a service provider, so we know what that information is. We populate it. So that all you have to do is input the LAN information from this site. So how many SIP trunk ports you have, and the starting port number for SIP trunk, your IP addresses, and your username and passwords. Right? So it eliminates about half of the programming that you would see when doing SIP trunks. Right? So that's our new installation wizard that's available on version 2 SL2100 software and using version 2 PC Pro. Right? And that's available. These slides were done before this was available. So at that point, we were only going to make it available under the initial install wizard, which would have been, again, great for new installs, but it would have made it more difficult when you went in and retrofitted somebody out of POTS lines to NEC SIP trunks. So now this wizard, this NEC Cloud Communications, is available either under the initial install wizard or under Easy Edit Quick Install. Okay? So you can you can utilize the wizard on both new installs and retrofit. So we kind of make it as easy as 1, 2, 3. You sell your customer the NEC SIP trunk service. You load the required SIP trunk license in their SL2100, and then you input and upload the site specific network information under that wizard and test, and you're good to go. So we try and make it as simple as possible. So the advantages, again, of NEC SIP trunks, you control the margin, you control the recurring monthly revenue because of the net pricing business model. Chances are you already have an established relationship with one of our master agents. We'll talk more about that in an upcoming slide. Limited upfront investment. It's recommended that you purchase a couple of SIP trunks for your office just so you can see the process. Right? Limited upfront training. The portal is very easy to use. So you can start quoting and selling right as soon as you get access to the portal. It's laid out in such a way that it's easy to follow and easy to set up. Right? But be that as it may, once you go through the process of the application process and you get access to the portal, we will take you through. We could set up webinars with Adam Walker to show you how to use the portal. And from month to month, on a month-to-month basis, we do Adam Walker will do a couple of webinars that shows you SIP trunk automation and the Univerge Blue portal. All right. No minimum quotas. Right, to maintain status. We're not looking for you to sell X amount of SIP trunks per month, and we will pay the reseller over the life of the contract, even if you never sell another SIP application. Right? We are not your competition. We are your partner in this. The only way for an end user to get NEC SIP trunks is through an authorized NEC agent. So they can't come to us and say, we want to buy your SIP trunks. Right? They have to go through you guys to purchase SIP trunks. And then we have the new SIP trunk programming wizard in PC Pro, setting up with the SL2100. Right? Advantages versus the competition. We have our unlimited trunks with unlimited outbound local long distance option. We have our new SIP trunk bundled option. All right, excellent support and service, excellent customer service and onboarding. We have a couple of guys who all they are, their job is nothing but onboarding SIP trunk resellers for us. Right? We will provide some provisioning assistance as well as engineering setup and support. There's ongoing service support from the NAC. All of our SIP trunks are monitored 24/7, 365, and they're managed. They're on the lookout for fraudulent activity. Right? We have both a free reseller portal as well as an end user portal so the end user can set up their own auto failover options. A lot of times people just fail over trunks to a cell phone. Okay? All right. And then we do have a managed router option that's on a 3 or 5 year term, which just gives an extra layer of security on the network and allows for the NAC to go in and see what's going on the network. And we have 2 network operating centers. We have one out in Connecticut, one in St. Louis, and then we have a failover network operating center down in Dallas. Right. So we've got the country fairly well covered, and we've got a lot of redundancy built into our SIP trunks. Right? So your savings based on contract length, it's always recommended that you use a term when selling SIP trunks, because why would you want your end user to be a free agent every month? So sell them on a 1 year or preferably a 3 year term for SIP trunks. Then you're locked into that customer. Again, it's that sticky factor, right? High margins. We use the net price margin. You determine the sell price. You determine your margins.
Our receptionist will be right.
All right. And we are supported on all of our NEC systems. Today we're talking about just specifically the SL2100, but obviously we will work on all NEC phone systems. And all sales will end up counting for in our programs and promotions. We're still working on that for the supply channel. All right. Action items for you guys, and this is kind of out of order now. First would be contact your account manager for a Univerge Blue app, right? Because it is a process. There is an application process. We are not new to doing SIP trunks. We've been doing SIP trunks for about 3 years now, but we were only doing them on the dealer direct side. So it was only this past July we decided to open it up to our supply channel customers. All right. So theoretically, you're actually filling out the same application um, for doing, for selling SIP trunks as the direct dealers were. Right. The only difference is we're not diving that deep into your credit because we're really not worried about your credit scores and all that, because this transaction is just basically shuffling paper. Right? And then you would pick your master agent, and these are the 5 distributors that have signed on thus far as in terms of master agent. So in alphabetical order, it is Optus, Network Center, Target Distributing, Teleco, and Teledynamics. Those are the 5 distributors who are being a master agent. And it's imperative when you do the application and before you submit your app that you pick a master agent, because switching master agents after the fact does require a lot of additional paperwork. So choose wisely. And chances are you already have a relationship with one of these 5 distributors. So this is just a way to enhance that relationship. All right. Then you would attend one of our Univerge Blue Intro WebEx seminars. Check the schedule on our NTAC website. I think we have a couple set up for this week. I think there may even be one today, and there is one on Thursday where Adam will take everybody through the Univerge Blue portal to show how to do quotes, how to order lines, how to port over lines. Okay? And then obviously you would go through the onboarding process with one of our Univerge Blue experts, and then start quoting and selling through the Univerge Blue portal. All right. At this point, I start to give questions about, well, how long does it take? All right. We've just launched an automation process where you can, for a new user, you can get SIP trunks probably within an hour, probably closer to 20 minutes time. All right. Now, the wild card in all that is if you're porting numbers over. We rely on the losing service provider to grant permission to port those numbers over. And usually the losing service provider, that's not high on their list of action items to do. So we say it usually takes about 3 weeks to port numbers over. So if you're going into an existing customer and they want to port their numbers over to the NEC SIP trunks, that could take some time. Now, we have some things that we can do in our back office where we can forward their existing number to their SIP trunks, so they don't have to wait that 3 to 6 week time frame to make sure their numbers get ported over. There's some call forwarding things that they can do that we can do so that they can keep their existing number, and then when the number is officially ported over, it's pretty seamless. They have no idea that it's occurred. Right? So you can turn on SIP trunks pretty quickly through, and it's all done through our Univerge Blue portal. It's pretty slick and pretty easy. All of the contracts, when you go through the quoting process, and then that quote turns into a deal, all of the contracts can be sent to the end user for electronic signature. So the whole process speeds up at that point. Right? So there we go. That's our NEC SIP trunks. Adam Walker is our Univerge Blue expert on the east side of the United States. Dan McHugh covers the west side of the United States, and you could pretty much think about the Mississippi River in terms of the border on that. Um, so you would work through your account manager to get in contact with one of these two gentlemen as you move forward in the process. But again, it starts with the Univerge Blue, filling out the Univerge Blue app, um, and that can, depending on how many are sitting on the desk. Um, I've seen contracts for Univerge Blue get turned around in as little as 2 days. Sometimes it's a week or 10 days. Okay? So your first step is to contact your account manager to get the ball rolling in terms of Univerge Blue. All right. So I took a little bit longer than I wanted to. So I got a little windier than I had hoped. Any questions out there on what we talked about? Remember, this has been recorded, so you will get a follow up email with links to a recording and to the recording as well as this PowerPoint presentation. So, any questions? Questions going once? Twice? All right. If there's no questions, I thank you everybody for taking the time to join me today. I hope you found this information useful and beneficial to you. And I hope you ask for the app and start selling NEC SIP trunks. So thanks everybody. Go out and have a great rest of your day. Take care.